Well, hello, friends. Hello. All right, now, before anybody starts, I did a whole live before I did this video explaining where I've been, why I've been gone, what's been going on, the whole 9 yards. So, if before you bitch at me, please, for the love of God, go watch that video, okay? Also, I do just want to say that we are in the process of rearranging my whole studio with lighting. So the lighting is way off right now. So I hope it doesn't bother you guys. Also, these are my birthday flowers from my lovely, lovely, lovely husband. So hopefully you all can deal with the little spot of purple. That's my favorite color. So that's why he got purple. Also, I did test out a lip gloss today on Instagram Live, and I hate it. So I'm just going to go in really quickly with some gloss that I know I love. This is the Too Faced gloss. So now for today, we have a story time that I'm going to be really honest with you all when I say that I never had the intentions of telling you guys this story. This was a story that was maybe going to be in my book one day, but like I did not have any intentions of telling you guys this story. So buckle your seats, get a snack, lay down, honey, and get ready for me to tell you a story time. Let's go ahead and get into today's video. Please be sure that you do subscribe to this channel if you have not yet already. If you're already a part of this channel, welcome back, my darling. But again, if not, please do subscribe and also join a part of the Morgan Shay Notify gang by clicking that little bell down there right beside subscribe. There's a little bell. Click that, turn on all your notifications so you're notified anytime that I do upload. In my live that I did right before this video, I let you guys know of my 2022 uploading schedule. We're going to upload every single Thursday. So I'm going to upload once a week onto YouTube, and I will do daily or every other day uploads on TikTok and or Instagram. Without further ado and enough blabbing, let's go ahead and get into the goddamn story time. Okay? Okay. But this story does involve someone that I did once care about very, very deeply. We have not been friends in a very, very long time. And I just want to say off the record at the very beginning of this that I do not hate this person and I do not wish this person any ill will. However, this is a very big story that has to do with my life, and it has to do with my story. And I feel that it's only fair that I should get to tell my story. I am going to be leaving out big parts that has to do with them because that is their story and they are not here to defend themselves. So I don't feel that it's right for me to bring up any parts that has to do with them and their story and their journey. That's not what this is all about. So like I said, me and this person used to be extremely, extremely close. Bestest of friends. We spent all kinds of time together, and we went through a lot. And I really, in a way, admired her and looked up to her in a way that I never admired or looked up to anyone else. I thought that she was such a strong and powerful woman, and I felt like, she had told me her struggles with addiction, and I just couldn't imagine her that way. She just seemed so strong and powerful. But she and I met working at Shoney's. We were both servers at Shoney's. And at this point, I had definitely started my addiction. However, it hadn't gotten to the level that it was about to get. I would probably, at that point, and I'm going to be honest, we're going to put a trigger warning here. We're going to be talking about drugs in this video. So please, if you are triggered at all by talk of drugs, especially getting into specifics, or you're triggered by addiction or anything like that, please click out of today's video. It is not the video for you. But the reason why I'm telling this story is because one of the parts of this story happened today, and that is the day that saved my life. And that is December the 19th. That day changed my life forever. And I'm so grateful for that day. So fucking grateful for that day. But me and this girl had become very good friends. We worked at Shoney's together. We were servers, and she ended up like disappearing, and I didn't hear from her for a long time. And I ended up leaving Shoney's and, going on my own little way. And I had been sober for about 3 months. And at the time, I was moving back to Tennessee to live with a family member from living with my mom and my stepdad in North Carolina. And when I got back to Tennessee, literally the day I had already gotten a job at Applebee's in Knoxville. And literally that day, this girl that we're going to call Tiffany, she texts me on Facebook and she says, "Hey, how are you? How have you been?" And I tell her I'm doing great. I'm newly sober. I've been sober for 3 months, because I thought that she was still sober, because when we met at Shoney's, I was in my addiction, but she said that she was, because at the time she was going through a whole situation, but that she was sober. Again, I'm not going to get into the details of her living situation at the time, but she had a whole situation going on when I originally met her. So she doesn't mention anything about that. She goes completely radio silent for about 3-4 hours. I'm at work and I go to check my phone and I have a text from her again on Facebook that says, "Hey, do you want to hang out tonight?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." And she says, "Do you want to get high?" Now, when you are newly sober and someone messages you this is like a big test. It's a very, very big test, because you have got to be very, 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 very strong in your sobriety to say no. Because if you are not, you get one opportunity, one chance to do the right thing here. And unfortunately, I was not strong at all, and I said, hell yes. And it's because I was basically forced into my sobriety at this time. My family was like, "Look, either you get sober or you're getting the hell out. We're done." And I was not ready at all. I was not ready. And so she came and picked me up after work, and we went to a town in Tennessee called, I'm going to cut out the town name because I don't want people to know who I'm talking about, and I don't want her family to know that I'm talking about her. So we went to a town here in Tennessee that's far from where I live, like 45 minutes. And she was doing a specific drug at the time that I hadn't done yet, and it's called Opanas. So if you're familiar, then you're going to know. And she starts to get like a can, and like she had like a whole kit in her purse, and I'm very confused because I'd never been around anybody who'd done drugs this way. And so I'm like looking at her like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Oh, you're either going to do it this way or you're not going to get high at all." Again, like I've mentioned to you guys before, in these situations, you've got two options here. You either do it or you don't. And she was like, "Don't worry about it. I will take care of you. I will get it for you. I will hit you with it," which basically means that, and again, trigger warning, she was going to shoot me up, basically. And I was always terrified of needles, terrified. So I'm scared to death, but at the same time, I wanted to get high so bad that I did not care. I did not care. I let her do that to me. And that was the end of it all. And this is actually the picture of the night, the first time that I ever shot up in my life. This was the first night. We ended up going and walking around Walmart for hours. You can see I'm in a red shirt. That's what we wore at Applebee's. She's in a black one because she was still working at Shoney's. And this was a turning point in my life. This is where everything went downhill. Now, we were on again, off again friends for a long time. And then she ended up moving in with a family member, and I was living with someone else. And at this point, I was going down with the burning flames. I was going down, and I felt myself, and I was getting very scared. So I had backed off of doing drugs that way. And she had asked to hang out with me, and it was close to my birthday. And I'll keep in mind, I'm cutting a lot out because I want to be considerate of her story. It's not mine to tell. So months and months and months, I would say probably from the first point that we tried stuff all the way fast forwarding through to now when I'm talking about, it'd probably been about 2 years. And she wanted to hang out, so I did. A lot of things had happened between she and I, and it was very awkward, I will say. We were not the friends that we used to be. I did not look at her in the same light. she was very mean to me at times and talked bad about me and made fun of me. And that's what drugs does to people. Like, you change into a completely different person. You say things that you would never say. You do things that you never do. She had left me stranded several times, like waiting for her after work. Like, it was just a lot. And she had asked me several times to hang out, and I finally did. I hung out with her one day, and unfortunately, one of her family members seen us hanging out, and so her family member hates my guts to this day. And I literally only hung out with this girl this one time, but I know that she told this family member different because her family member, like, I guess blames me, but I don't see how you could possibly. But anyways, we end up going to a different town. And like I said, I had stopped doing drugs intravenously for probably about 6 months at this point. I was still getting high, do not get me wrong. I was not completely sober, but I was not doing drugs intravenously at this time. We had not even mentioned drugs up until this point. We were just hanging around, driving around her hometown. And we get pulled over because she had finally gotten her car back. When we were hanging out before, she didn't have her car. It was me driving around. But she had gotten her car back, and we get pulled over, and, I'm perfectly fine, but she's freaking out, and I can tell. And she starts asking me to put these drugs, like she starts digging in her bag and is asking me to put this stuff on me because I don't have any charges. So I just jump out of the car with my hands up. I'm having to cut out a lot. I know I've oversaid things in this video, and I know I've had to cut out things because there's certain things that I just can't tell because it's not my story. But just know she had promised me when we got in this car that there was nothing in it. I did not want to be in the car with anything like that because I was very vulnerable. I was very newly sober from this, and I knew that doing it one more time, I was going to be off the rails. And anyways, she runs from the police in her car, and I'm left on the side of the road with one officer. He runs my name, and he was like, "What are you doing hanging out with her?" And I said, "Well, I've known her for years, but we just started hanging out again." And he said, "You need to take your ass back to Knoxville." And I was like, okay. So I call a family member. They have to drive 45 minutes to this girl's town to come pick me up. They get there to pick me up, and they're furious, obviously, and I don't talk to her again until December. The day of my birthday, she messages me, and she tells me, "Happy birthday, da-da-da." That's it. On the 19th of December, she messages me around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and at the time, I was waitressing at IHOP. Chris had just stopped talking to me because I wouldn't get completely sober. It was just a really bad day, and I was very depressed. And this girl, Tiffany, reaches out to me and asks if I want to hang out. And I completely blow her off. I just was not, was blaming, drugs for everything in my life, which it was the issue in my life. Drugs was the reason that everything was happening in my life. And I just did not want to hang out with her at all. And so I blew her off. I didn't respond. And the very next day, I get a call from her asking if I had talked to Tiffany. So I'm having to cut things out because I keep saying people's names. But the very next day, I get a call from one of her family members, and they ask if I had talked to Tiffany. And I tell them no, I haven't talked to her since the 16th, that she messaged me the day before, but I was busy at work. And they say she was arrested last night. It's all over the news. You guys, the reason why I'm telling you this story is because this was a crossroads in my life, okay? This was a turning point. This was months before I got sober, completely sober. And I could have made the decision that night to have Tiffany come pick me up, and I would have been with her with heroin and over 300 Opanas in the car. And I would have been sentenced to prison the same as her. But I made the decision to not go. I made the decision to stay at work. And that saved my life. I wish her nothing but the best, and I think about her constantly because I just remember just looking at her as like this beautiful, powerful powerhouse of a woman. And that just goes to show, just watch who you look up to. Just watch who you look up to, and remember that you can be your own idol. You can be your own person to look up to. I'm going to have some information here on the screen. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction or struggling at all, I'm going to have some information here and some hotlines that you can reach out, and to websites that you can reach out to ask some questions or whatever you need. Again, an email that you can reach out to me is also here on the screen. If you have any questions or anything like that that you want to talk about, this is an email where you and I can communicate any old time. I love you guys. Be sure you subscribe before you leave. Also, down in the description box is links to all of my social media if you would like to follow me on a more personal basis. And again, until the very next time, guys. Bye. Stay safe.